We recently received update 22.6. Now, to go over the major additions and changes first, which is probably the best, we finally received dynamic weather on the plains of Eidolon. However, it is currently only rain, thunder, lightning, and whatnot, so just a storm. And it's pretty cool because during this time, fish spawns will be increased significantly. Also, it is available in Captura mode. There will be a slider there. I currently don't have the Captura tileset, so I can't show you exactly where it is. Next up, we had Focus 2.5, which obviously brought changes to Focus. Now, the main change to Focus here was the shared pool capacity. Basically, you can select which primary pool you want, like usual, and then you can use the focus points within that pool to increase the universal focus pool capacity, like shown on the screen. It's a lot easier to show than explain. Because we received these changes, all your focus points were respected, they were refunded to you, and you'll have to invest them once again. Now, lenses will stay on your current frames, they won't be removed. However, brilliant Eidolon shards have been refunded as well. Now, besides the universal capacity pool, we also received some changes to each focus node's cost. From Focus 2.0 to Focus 2.5, the cost of each node has been halved, with Focus Node 0 usually costing 75,000 will now cost 40,000, so after the respec, you basically have a shit ton more focus to spend on your nodes. Now, we also got some changes to specific focus nodes within certain schools, such as Void Singularity pull speed being doubled, Lightning Dash now costing 10 energy per cast. Now for Vazarin, Guardian Blast will now grant 160 shields at max rank, up from 100, and Protective Dash now grants 5 seconds of immunity at max for up to 2 seconds. As for Yanaru, Void Spines will reflect 100% of the damage at max rank to the enemy, and Stone Skin will now add flat armor of 60 for both Warframe and your operator at max rank. As for Madurai, Void Strike will continue accumulating damage boosts over multiple uses of Void Mode, with each rank adding additional attacks with a maximum of 8. As for Blazing Dash, it will now stun enemies instead of ragdolling them. Next up, the caves from the Operation Plaguestar event have been added into the basic bounty pool, with players having to do exterminate, assassination, and cash recovery objectives within the caves. As for additions, they added Zor grips and amps to the equipment tab on player profiles, so players can track their mastery from them. They added resistance, armor type, and health type information to the Eidolon Vumvolus Codex entries. They added the 750-day daily tribute reward, the Guiding Rose Cache, which includes the Guiding Rose Glyph, the Exilus Adapter, and a 3-day affinity booster. And they also added a sale manifest for when you select a large number of items and then you wish to sell them, just so you can quickly scale through and see if you added anything you didn't want. The next major change was with bait, dye, and pheromona. Now basically they require you to throw it like bait. You have to be static and standing on the ground in order to throw it into the water, no more jumping up and throwing it into the best possible spot. As for dye, pheromona, and bait, they will only work within a certain radius around its casting point, so no more walking down the coast and expecting the dye to still work. Now they also made it so active bait will no longer be destroyed by fish. They reduced the fish escape speed when spooked. They also fixed fish swimming through terrain. They fixed a rare crash where fishing bait would not float properly. They fixed bait being destroyed if thrown into shallow ponds where the bait would hit the bottom before floating to the surface. They fixed clients being able to throw one more bait than they actually have, and they fixed an issue where some fish could swim in the air, which I thought was fixed recently, but apparently it came back. And then we have probably the major change here, and that is to Gara's mass Vitrify. And personally, I think this change completely fucked her 4th ability, and should have focused more on her 2nd, but it is what it is, and they fucked up. So, basically, Mass Vitrify is no longer invulnerable, and now has sections that break off and explode as it absorbs incoming damage. Now, the amount of damage absorbed scales through power, strength, and armor, with the explosion damage scaling with power strength. Now, I personally think they should have just done it with health instead of armor, because you're wasting a mod slot for that. Also, Mass Vitrify will no longer have a duration, and will remain until recast, destroyed, or smashed from your first ability. And there was also some changes to Volt. Now, because apparently he was too overpowered, with his range expanding too far while killing people, Discharge's damage cap was not removed within this update. However, they did reduce Electric Shield's energy cost per meter to 1 energy per 4 meters instead of the 1 energy per 1 meter. They also made some changes to the reticle, turning it blue when targeting allies and making it red when targeting enemies, making it so the reticle will show different states for hip, aim, and sprint, and making it so context actions will dim when aiming while they are active. And on top of the reticle changes, there was also some changes and improvements made to the objective UI and user experience, which are up on the screen if you want to have a read of them. And then there was the base game changes, which there was a lot. So they made performance and memory optimizations to the Plains of Eidolon and other tile sets, so hopefully if you weren't able to play Plains of Eidolon before, you will now with these performance changes. The Corpus Gas City and Grenier Settlement tile sets have received an audio remaster. So players who play with sound, there you go. Time between incursions will increase if you let an incursion expire. A single Vonvolist in its energy form near multiple lures will now only feed a single charge to a single lure. However, to improve overall survivability of the lures, they've changed it to make lures always spawn at level 30 regardless of bounty level or distance from the gate. And they also changed how the Hunter Command mod works. So your companion will now focus on an enemy for a set duration when they first slash proc you, and while focused on that target, they will ignore any new procced enemies and will go back to their default behavior after the duration on the single target ends. Operators and Ostron vendors in Cetus now have the updated eye shaders, which is pretty cool. The beams from Trinity's Link will now fade out when the ability has ended. Lephantis' melee attacks will now knock you back if you're hit. They've smoothed NPC movement for clients with a poor connection to the host. They've replaced an old version of the reactor in the Grenier Settlement Sabotage with a newer version used in the Grenier Shipyard tile set. They've improved AI pathing in the Grenier Asteroid tile set. Overall UI optimizations. They reduced a number of stasis mines in the Archwing Rush mission. They improved the responsiveness of loadouts in Relays and Cetus. Improved AI pathing on the Grenier Settlement tile set. Audio will now properly resume if your audio device is disconnected and then reconnected. Grenier melee enemies on the plains are now able to climb on top of the storage containers. They tuned down the bloom on the wings of the Chroma Vojnik battle damage Tenogen skin. They improved lighting on the lure tile set doors. Changed enemies are dead transmission to broken their ranks transmission in invasion missions, as well as making the Plains of Eidolon Captura scene tradable with other players. As for fixes, they're up on the screen, you can have a read of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.